Good afternoon, and welcome to today's Lunchtime Poetry with Lorie. I've had travel on my mind a lot lately, and I thought I would read some travel themed poems for you. We're going to start with Vacation by Rita Dove. I love the hour before takeoff, that stretch of no time, no home but the gray vinyl seats linked like unfolding paper dolls. Soon we shall be summoned to the gate. Soon enough there'll be the clumsy procedure of row numbers and perforated stubs. But for now I can look at these ragtag nuclear families with their cooing and bickering, or the heeled bachelorette trying to ignore a baby's wail, and the baby's exhausted mother waiting to be called up early, while the athlete, one monstrous hand asleep on his duffel bag, listens, perched like a seal trained for the plunge. Even the lone executive who has wandered this far into summer with his lasered itinerary, briefcase knocking his knees, even he has worked for the pleasure of bearing no more than a scrap of himself into this hall. He'll dine out, she'll sleep late, they'll let the sun burn them happy all morning. A little hope, a little whimsy before the loudspeaker blurts, and we leap up to become Flight 828, now boarding at Gate 17. And that's Vacation by Rita Dove. This next poem is called If You Get There Before I Do by Dick Allen. Air out the linens, unlatch the shutters on the eastern side, and maybe find that deck of bicycle cards lost near the sofa. Or maybe walk around and look out the back windows first. I hear the views magnificent, old silent pines leading down to the lakeside, layer upon layer of magnificent light. Should you be hungry, I'm sorry, but there's no Chinese takeout, only a general store. You passed it coming in, but you probably didn't notice its one weary gas pump, along with all those Esso cans from decades ago. If you're somewhat confused, think Vermont, that state where people are folded into the mountains like berries in batter. What I'd like when I get there is a few hundred years to sit around and concentrate on one thing at a time. I'd start with radiators and work my way up to Meister Eckhart. Or why do so few people turn their lives around? So many take small steps into what they never do. The first weeks, the first lessons, until they choose something other, beginning their lives, so never knowing what it's like to risk last-minute failure. I'd save blue for last. Klein blue, or the blue of Crater Lake on an early June morning. That would take decades. Don't forget to sway the fence gate back and forth a few times just for its creaky sound. When you swing in the tire swing, make sure your socks are off. You've forgotten, I expect, the feeling of feet brushing the tops of sunflowers. In Vermont, I once met a ski bum on a summer break who had followed the snows for 7 years and planned on at least 7 more. We're here for the enjoyment of it, he said. To salam into joy. I expect you'll find Bibles scattered everywhere, or Talmuds or Korans, as well as little snippets of gospel music, chants, old Advent calendars with their paper doors still open. You might pay them some heed. Don't be alarmed when what's familiar starts fading, as gradually you lose your bearings. Your body seems to turn opaque and then transparent until finally it's invisible. What old age rehearses us for, and vacations in the limbo of the Middle West. Take it easy. Take it slow. When you think I'm on my way, the long middle passage done, fill the pantry with cereal, curry, and blue and white boxes of macaroni. Place the checkerboard set, or chess if you insist, out on the flat-topped stump beneath the porch's shadow. Pour some lemonade into the tallest glass you can find in the cupboard. Then drum your fingers. Practice lifting your eyebrows until you tell them all, the skeptics, the bigots, blind neighbors, those damn with faint praise critics on their hobby horses, that I'm allowed And if there's a place for me that love has kept protected, I'll be coming. I'll be coming too. And that's called If You Get There Before I Do. And reading that poem always makes me think of our family home in the Adirondacks. Next, a short one, Window by Carl Sandburg. Night from a I'll start that over. Window by Carl Sandburg. Night from a railroad car window is a great, dark, soft thing, broken across with slashes of light. And that's Window by Carl Sandburg. I absolutely love to travel by train. This next one is by Rachel Lyman Field, and it is called If Once You Have Slept on an Island. If once you have slept on an island, you'll never be quite the same. You may look as you looked the day before and go by the same old name. You may bustle about in street and shop. You may sit at home and stew. But you'll see blue water and wheeling gulls wherever your feet may go. You may chat with the neighbors of this and that, and close to your fire keep. But you'll hear ship whistle and lighthouse bell, and tides beat through your sleep. Oh, you won't know why, and you can't say how, such a change upon you came. But once you have slept on an island, you'll never be quite the same. The next one I'm going to read is by Edgar Allan Poe, and it's called El Dorado. Gaily bedight a gallant knight, in sunshine and in shadow, had journeyed long singing a song in search of El Dorado. But he grew old, this knight so bold, and o'er his heart a shadow fell as he found no spot of ground that looked like El Dorado. And as his strength failed him at length, he met a pilgrim shadow. Shadow, said he, where can it be, this land of El Dorado? Over the mountains of the moon, down the valley of shadow. Ride, boldly ride, the shade replied, if you seek for El Dorado. And that's by Edgar Allan Poe, El Dorado. I've mentioned before that one of my favorite poets, is Edna St. Vincent Millay, and this is by her. It's called Travel. The railroad track is miles away, and the day is loud with voices speaking. Yet there isn't a train goes by all day, but I hear its whistle shrieking. All night there isn't a train go by, though the night is still for sleep and dreaming. But I see its cinders red on the sky and hear its engine steaming. My heart is warm with the friends I make, and better friends I'll not be knowing. Yet there isn't a train I wouldn't take, no matter where it's going. I think she feels quite like I do about travel. And finally today, Shel Silverstein. I do seem to like to end Lunchtime Poetry with Shel Silverstein. And this one is actually the title poem from his book, Where the Sidewalk Ends. There is a place where the sidewalk ends, and before the street begins, and there the grass grows soft and white, and there the sun burns crimson bright, and there the moonbird rests from his flight to cool in the peppermint wind. Let us leave this place where the smoke blows back. Let us leave this place where the smoke blows black, and the dark street winds and bends. Past the pits where the asphalt flowers grow, we shall walk with a walk that is measured and slow, and watch where the chalk-white arrows go to the place where the sidewalk ends. Yes, we'll walk with a walk that is measured and slow, and we'll go where the chalk-white arrows go. For the children, they mark, and the children, they know the place where the sidewalk ends. I hope that you have enjoyed today's travel edition of Lunchtime Poetry. I know that I have. I am Lorie, and I am the teen librarian at Manlius Library. And you can find me here on the Manlius Library YouTube channel every Friday at noon for more lunchtime poetry. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.